If Jake Oettinger continues his play, the Dallas Stars are going to be a problem. The Chris Tanev effect continues to shine, and a big weekend on tap with the Blackhawks and the Avalanche. Let's jump into it next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Happy Friday, Stars fans. The Dallas Stars will look to extend their franchise best win streak on the weekend against the Blackhawks and Avalanche, and that could be a big one. What's at stake in that game? Maybe the Central Division. Maybe that could be the dagger if the Dallas Stars take down Colorado on Sunday night. Who knows? But a big weekend nonetheless. Chris Tanev continues to seep into the Stars defensively and increase their numbers. I have an interesting little tidbit for you there in that segment, but we must talk about Jake Oettinger, who has been on fire recently. And the Dallas Stars will be a problem in the postseason if they get this Jake Oettinger on most nights. And it's something we had been hoping for the majority of this season, and it has not happened. But over the past month or so, here we go. He's starting to ramp up. The Stars have a very, very great goaltending tandem along with Scott Wedgewood. There's a great story that was put out on DallasStars.com from Josh Clark. I really, really encourage you to go take in that piece as a whole, but I want to throw some things out from that article that at least talk about their relationship and how tight it really is between those two. And maybe it has something to do with the way Jake Oettinger has been playing here as of late. It's obvious he has his swagger and confidence back, right? And one of the ways, or at least something I picked up on when watching the game against the Oilers a few nights ago, which really, really gives me encouraging signs moving forward, was just the way he played the puck. And look, it's a small detail in the game, but he just looked really, really positive, getting out of his crease, getting behind the net, cutting off dump-ins, and diffusing forechecks, where he's really confident moving the puck because he really can be an extra defenseman. He's like a third defenseman on the ice when he can do that and, cut off those hard rims, and then he can dish it off, and the Stars can break out cleanly and, of course, get up the ice and get pucks on net, right, where they want to be to begin with. But just little nuances in the game like that, I think, have started to find their way back to Oettinger. And, of course, the numbers have been better. And over the last month in 11 games, he's 9-2, 2.40 goals against average, and 906 save percentage. He has back-to-back shutouts, which certainly doesn't hurt. It's the first time since Ben Bishop that a Stars netminder has back-to-back shutouts in the regular season. But there are a few advanced statistics that have also increased lately that I did want to make note of because I've talked about them and mentioned them quite a bit throughout the season, but one of them was goal save above expected. And for the longest time, frankly, the first 4 months of the season, Oettinger had a negative goals saved above expected. He's now crept up to the top 25 amongst goaltenders that have at least played 30 games. He's at 0.9. It's nothing great. That's 22nd amongst all netminders, but it's a lot better from where he was hovering around minus 4.5 for a lot of this season. His goal save above expected per 60, 0.019, which is about middle of the pack as well. But again, it is a drastic increase from what we had for the majority of the season. But then you take a look here over the course of the season. Oettinger has kind of fell to about, I would say, 40th in save percentage and goals against this season. He's now kind of crept his way back into the top 25 there. And what is even more impressive or more drastic is actually his home and road splits. And I know I've mentioned this throughout the year, but look at his numbers with or on the road, excuse me. A save percentage of .913. That's fifth in the National Hockey League. A goals against average at 2.66, which is top, or 2.61, excuse me, which is also top 5. So on the road, he really has been an elite netminder. He's been elite in net. He is up there with the Shesterkins and Hellenbucks of the world. At home, it's been a decent story. But if we can get, let's say, the road Oettinger more consistently here in the postseason, the Dallas Stars are going to be a real problem. And I mentioned this, I think last month, like if he continues or at least plays somewhat up to the level that we think he's capable of, he's the X factor. The Stars have the offense. They have the depth. It's all about putting the pieces together. The defense continues to get better from what we can tell. And Chris Tanev has a huge contribution to that. And we'll touch on that in a bit as well. But we all know that the goaltending position can be end all be all a bit. It's one of those position in sports. You're the last line of defense, and it's you get shouldered justly or rightfully so with the blame a lot of the time. And then when you win, you get a lot of the praise as well. But Josh Clark wrote an article on DallasStars.com about their relationship. And he had some great quotes that he threw in there from Oettinger and Wedgewood himself. And Oettinger said, "I love Wedgie. He's such a good guy. First of all, he supports me so much and vice versa. It's nice when you have someone that you can lean on that's going through the same things you are and deals with the same stuff I do." And here's what makes them a perfect partnership. And maybe why it's just a thought bubble that I'm throwing out there. Oettinger has played better here. Scott Wedgewood at 31 has never been the guy anywhere. He's played with 4 or 5 different teams, always kind of in a quintessential backup role. He has dealt with struggles a lot of his career, but has always been reliable and always in the mix, right? And I think having Wedgewood as that guy that Oettinger can go to, where, yes, he is an elder statesman, a veteran in the league, and just bounce ideas off of and just continue to work through the mental struggles that maybe Oettinger has had this season. And maybe it's nothing mental. Maybe it's just all physical and it's angles and whatnot that goaltenders are constantly having to perfect or at least try to precise. But I'm just throwing out there, maybe that is a great guy for Oettinger to go to and to be able to work through some of the struggles this year. And maybe they found a solution or something that's working that he's been able to fight through. And also Wedgewood is having the best season of his career at 31, 16, 6, and 5, a goals against average that is under 2.9. So he's also benefiting from this. But there was a great quote in the article too, where Oettinger said, or maybe it came from Wedgewood. The first thing he said to Otter was, "I'm not here to take the starting position. I'm not here to take your job," which is, I think, a really stand-up thing to do. That's something I don't think a lot of athletes or competitors would do. They're always trying to take the starting job, but wonders for him just taking the pressure off to some degree. Taking the pressure off. And maybe you can see it as a downside where Wedgewood isn't pushing him enough. But look, Oettinger was hurt for a month this season. And then Wedgewood stepped in and was really, really good. I mean, really good. And we had a discussion not too long ago on this podcast about, are you going to have to go with Scott Wedgewood in the postseason if Ottinger's not able to get out of this funk? I think that was a real question that was at least being brought up in or within the coaching staff. And now, look, Ottinger is playing some of his best hockey of the season at the right time. But I think just taking that pressure off where Wedgewood's not trying to, so to speak, take his job does a lot for him to just relax and continue to play his game. And also it gave Oettinger some time to figure it out. Maybe he had time, and it also helped the Stars are just a wagon in front of him. They did clean up a lot of his issues. They did rear his ugly head sometimes, but maybe just having that comfort level of, look, I have some time to figure it out. The team in front of me is phenomenal. I don't need to be good for 50 games in the regular season. If I can be good for 25 in the postseason, now we're talking, right? Now we're talking, even though we were extremely frustrated, and including myself, very, very frustrated with what was transpiring a lot of the year. But hey, it's all coming together at the right time, which is never a bad thing. That is for sure. Okay, wanted to highlight some of that about Jake Oettinger. He has won 6 games in a row as well. I'll throw that out there for you. And of course, back-to-back shutouts for the young man. He's also reached 30 wins. So there you go. A lot of good stuff from Mr. Otter. Let's move in to Chris Tanev of The Athletic. Put out an article with a few numbers and some highlighting some numbers throughout the league. And there was an interesting one about Chris Tanev and his former partner, Noah Hannafin, who, of course, now resides in Las Vegas. I'll tell you a bit more in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold from 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, as a registered broker-dealer. Hey, Stars fans, be sure to check out Locked On Sports today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Go ahead and check it out. It's on YouTube. It's on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. The biggest sports stories of the day, talking about it all day long as well. It is available on YouTube. Hop over there, subscribe to Locked On Stars. Hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode. Shout out to all you everydayers out there rocking along with me every single day. It's a roller coaster, but it's coming to an end here in the next month or so. Or I should say the regular season roller coaster is coming to an end. So I wanted to talk a bit more here about Chris Tanev and what he has done for the Stars defense. And it's obvious from the eye test what he provides. Just another physical presence. He's tough as nails. He's been a great partner for Esa Lindell. They've become kind of the shutdown pairing here for Dallas over the last month or so. And The Athletic put out this article that I was just skimming through. It's called 16 Stats, and they just take a look at some of the more curious numbers and write about them a bit. And I was skimming through it, and here we go. There's a Stars angle to this one. And it both applies to Hanifin and Chris Tanev, who were formerly in Calgary. They did not play together a ton as a pair, but they were there. And just it shows how valuable they have been on what is now considered two really good teams with Vegas and Dallas. It says both players are right around 60% of the expected goals, with Hanifin driving play to a larger degree at both ends of the ice. No surprise there. And it mentions Tanev suppressing a lot of chances defensively, and they're both are both posting incredible on ice numbers. It also mentions that for Tanev, it's a similar level of competition, but the average defensive rating of his teammates has jumped from minus 0.9 to plus 1.9. Or excuse me, plus 0.9 to plus 1.9. So an increase of 1. How about that? Just the defensive ratings of everybody else, not just Tanev, it like Miro and Harley, everybody else from plus 0.9 to plus 1.9, which of course makes things easier. So how about that for Noah Hanifin too, but Chris Tanev making a difference to the Stars in a multitude of ways, not only just his pairing and his numbers playing with a better team, but increasing everybody's numbers. And the expected goals against with Tanev on the ice goes down like a full goal, like a full point too, for the Stars when he's on the sheet. And of course, he does a ton of great things. He's physical. He's great on the penalty kill. He just adds a level of toughness to the Stars. Look at the hit he took in Seattle, and then it's like it never happened. He's back out on the ice and continuing to perform at a high level. But I thought that was a really, really cool stat about how him and Hanifin have really increased their clubs that they joined. And it's no surprise that he was really, really sought after at the deadline. And once again, a round of applause for Jim Nill and that incredible job he did to go out and get Tanev and get him in the building. He was certainly frustrated with the team's defensive game for the majority of the season. And he pulled the trigger on someone that has made an immediate impact. And he's just a great fit, right? He's a great fit. You always wonder how the chemistry and kind of how that's going to work out with a new guy coming in with just about 20 games remaining. It's not a certainty that all these guys just come in and mix well together, but it feels like Tanev has joined the group and has just been a phenomenal acquisition and get here for the Dallas Stars. And now we're seeing Pete DeBoer kind of change up his pairings a bit. They had Lundqvist kind of shielded to some degree. They put Tanev with Suter there for a start and Lindell. And then Lindell played with Lundqvist a bit. So they're still trying to work out some kinks. But overall, of course, the Stars are in a much better place defensively than they were pre-trade deadline. And it feels like everything is coming together. And I'm going to beat that phrase into oblivion here over the next few weeks until we get into round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs, which of course gets underway here I want to say just under 20 days. I think April 19th is when it will officially start, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm getting pumped up for it. But Stars still have a job to do. The Western Conference is still up in arms, and so is the Central Division. But a couple of big games here on tap this weekend. Chicago on Saturday, Colorado on Sunday. Let's look into the weekend and hope for a couple of big wins. Maybe the win streak continues, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, Stars fans. That's the formula to winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or get this, your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. So the Stars have a back-to-back this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. A bit of a funky one just with the start times. So tomorrow it is an afternoon matinee against the Blackhawks. 2:30 start for that one, and then they follow up with another late one. I'm getting tired of these of these late night starts. And I know I mentioned during that West Coast swing, I do like the late ones, but I'm not having fun with these these 9 o'clock starts here as of late. But they take on Colorado. It's a national televised game against the Avalanche with a 9 o'clock puck drop there. So maybe the back-to-back does not have as lasting effects from one night to the other, but who knows? Who knows? Anyways, the Blackhawks, of course, not very good. 22, 48, and 5. They're a bottom feeder. The Stars have completely just obliterated the bottom 5 teams in the NHL this season. So hopefully that one will be a cakewalk. There's certainly not much to jump up and down about there, but besides Connor Bedard, but the real one is the clash here in the top of the Central Division here with Colorado, and could have a lasting effect on what the Central Division is going to look like and what the playoff seedings could be. The Avalanche take on Edmonton the night prior, so both teams will be on a back-to-back, so no excuse there. Okay, I was looking to use it. Actually, I'm mistaken. Excuse me. Colorado will have a day off. They play Edmonton on Friday, so they will have a day off. So if they lose, I'm definitely using that excuse. Just, okay, be ready for that on Monday's episode of Locked On Stars. But as I'm currently recording this, Colorado 47, 22, and 6 on the season. It could be a huge swing here. There could be a 5-6 point swing within the Central if Colorado happens to lose against Edmonton on Friday, and then the Stars pick up 4 points here on the weekend. And who knows, it could be the dagger in the Central Division. You extend that gap between you and Colorado by 3 to 4 more points, and now you're looking at almost locking up the Central, which of course would at least provide home ice advantage through the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. But not only that, you have a chance at the Western Conference, and you have a chance at the President's Cup. So you have a chance at clinching home ice advantage throughout the entire playoffs, including the Stanley Cup final. Jake Oettinger was asked about the President's Trophy after the game against Edmonton, and he just kind of said, "Yeah, it's another thing to add." And they also mentioned, of course, this last time the Stars won the Stanley Cup, they won that too. He goes, "Oh, well, there you go." So they don't seem to be too afraid of the curse, but I know they want to win the division. It makes the road a lot easier if you can play in LA or Nashville. You would think, because if you're able to finish off a Predators or a Kings team in 5 games, right? Because you're just superior or inferior, you think, at least. Look, the playoffs are a different animal, and it truly doesn't matter. Everybody's record goes to 0-0, but if you can get through the first round rather quickly, you get a few extra days of rest. You're going to be more healthy, and all that will kind of compound on each other as the rounds go on. Injuries and bruises, it all increases the longer you stay in the fight. And if you can dispatch of a team quickly in 5 games, maybe, or at least 6 in a rather easy way, that can do a lot for the Stars' playoff chances. And I feel like I just have to end every episode here down the stretch about that, because that is the big picture right now is the postseason, and just kind of getting a look at where teams are going to fall. And they could drop back to second in the Central, right? It is a possibility. And then maybe you're playing Winnipeg in the first round, and that'll be a much more difficult task than the Nashville or LA, at least in my eyes, even though Nashville has been on an absolute tear here down the stretch. A lot of possibilities, and it's all hearsay and then just happenstance at this point, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Either way, it's a big weekend with a back-to-back Saturday and Sunday, beginning with the Blackhawks, and hopefully the win streak can continue, and they just continue to play good hockey, right? That's all it is. Just play your best heading into the most important stretch of the season. So some good stuff, and excited to see Bedard, I guess, once again. Excited to see Colorado there on Sunday night, a late one, 9:00 puck drop for that on national TV. Hopefully we get a recurrence of what we saw on national TV on Wednesday night. That would be a delight. It's a great test, though. It's another great test against a really good team that the Stars have not played very well this year. Colorado's had their number. I would love for them to just play a really solid game, win or lose, right? Win or lose, just play really, really darn good game. And it just something they can kind of lean on when the playoffs come around. Alrighty, that's all I got for you today. That's all I got on a Friday episode of Locked On Stars. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow me on Twitter, JoeyTheJet19. Follow Locked On Stars on Twitter as well. Excited for a fun weekend. The season for the team I work for coming down to an end. Just 2 games remaining. They're still in the hunt for the playoff. It's going to come down to the last game. I just know it is. But I'll be in Eagle River, Wisconsin here on Saturday, so I'll be a bit busy. But other than that, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the sunshine, hopefully, wherever you are. I won't. It's like rainy and snowing still. It's just irritating as all heck. But anyways, that's April here in the Midwest. Have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. And of course, we will see you on Monday. So long, Stars fans.